Vengeance Day. The day is drawing near. When loyalty fades, betrayal strikes, and vengeance is inevitable. NXT Vengeance Day. The day is drawing near. When loyalty fades, betrayal strikes, and vengeance is inevitable. NXT Vengeance Day. The day is drawing near. When loyalty fades,
Then now forever. Together.
The road to WrestleMania makes a pit stop tonight in Orlando, Florida, where the very hungry NXT superstars are looking to inflict vengeance on the entire division tonight at Vengeance Day, where this man, Ricky Saints, looks to get back on top. But in order to do so, he'll have to dethrone the current champion, Joe Hendry, who has everybody in NXT singing his song. Welcome on in, everybody, to Countdown to Vengeance Day. My name is Megan Morant. He's Sam Roberts. We will be here with you for the next hour, counting you down to all of the action that is coming your way from Orlando, Florida tonight. And Sam, you talk about NXT, you talk about superstars that are ripe for opportunity. It's a whole new look.
I mean, chaos has been the name of the game in NXT. Bad blood has been boiling over and over as the weeks have gone on. But today it comes to a head because today, Megan, is Vengeance Day.
That's right, Sam. And I don't know if it's about the calendar, the time of the year, but to me, it seems like there's a sense of urgency all throughout WWE, but particularly in NXT.
Well, NXT has got to be the fastest moving roster in all of the WWE, and especially this time of year. Everyone here knows it. Everyone here knows what an opportunity this is, and everyone here is ready to take advantage of just that.
Well, if you can capitalize at Vengeance Day, that means that you can have an opportunity at Stand and Deliver, and that's a dream of so many NXT superstars. But let's take a look at some of the action that is coming your way tonight at Vengeance Day. We saw them entering the building already. The NXT Championship is on the line. Will all of Orlando be singing Joe Hendry's song, or will Ricky Saints become a two-time NXT champ?
How about this one? Tatum Paxley looks to prove to the world that she can do it on her own. And tonight, that word again, opportunity. She's got the greatest opportunity to do it when she goes for the NXT Women's North American Championship, currently held by Izzy Dane.
These two women take a trip to the underground. For Lola Vice, her fourth time heading to the underground. She's never lost in the underground, but can Kelani Jordan take her lessons from Shayna Baszler to good use and find a way to shut up Lola Vice? We're gonna find out tonight.
She better hope that she can, but speaking of hope, Tony D'Angelo hopes to close out phase one of this plan that he concocted, coming back to NXT to take out Dark State once and for all. But in order to do that, he has to take out Dion Lennox, and it has to happen tonight.
Jada Parker has pushed Blake Monroe to her limit, so much so that Blake Monroe is the one who made this stipulation a street fight. Tonight at Vengeance Day, we'll see Monroe and Parker in a street fight, but let's take you back to Tuesday when the heat got turned up a notch between Parker and Monroe.
The glamour only exists because insecurity does. You're scared, mama. Because under that little polished ego of yours, you're not who you think you are. Take away the theatrics, take away the hell, and all that you have left is a mediocre bitch.
Well, that was one step too far for Blake Monroe, but it wasn't enough to stop Jada Parker, who is always ready for a fight. Jada Parker, quite frankly, embarrassing Blake Monroe on NXT on Tuesday, but that wasn't the last that we would see of the glamour on Tuesday's show.
You truly did bring the hell out of me. This ends at Vengeance Day. In a street fight!
Well, I tell you, neither Jada Parker or Blake Monroe were interested in waiting until tonight. They were ready to start this street fight on Tuesday. Tonight, the difference is going to be that nobody is going to be holding these women back. Tonight, they give it all to the NXT universe in Orlando, in the Performance Center, like you said, Megan. Tonight, it's a street fight.
Yeah, and it was Blake Monroe who throws out this stipulation. Jada Parker clearly pushed Blake Monroe to a limit, but both of these women getting very, very emotional. Do you think it was smart of Blake Monroe to make it a street fight?
I absolutely do.
Wow.
You have to meet fire with fire. And I'm not sure that Jada Parker knows the entire history of the glamour and really knows how comfortable that Blake Monroe may be in a street fight scenario.
Because to me, it seems like Jada Parker has all of the confidence when it comes to a stipulation like this.
And she backs up that confidence. We just saw her back it all up. You can't say anything to Jada Parker because it's not a mystery why she carries herself the way that she does. But that confidence can be a dangerous thing when you don't know who you're in the water with.
Yeah, well, Blake Monroe clearly emotional on Tuesday at NXT, and later in the week, she caught up with our very own Sarah Schreiber.
Blake Monroe, thank you so very much for your time. At Vengeance Day, you will be facing Jada Parker in a street fight. Now, we've seen the two of you go at it for the last few weeks since Jada's return. Why do you think
I think Jada Parker knew exactly what she was doing, interrupting me on her return. Confronting me. Sarah, that's the biggest thing you can do on NXT. You want to be talked about? You star alongside Blake Monroe. You're not going to get that kind of attention interrupting someone else. You want to be relevant, you come to me. That's the way this business works. That's reality. And well, Jada, she came for me.
Blake, that sounds a little bit patronizing. Are you sending a message to Jada ahead of Vengeance Day?
Jada talks a lot. Jada thinks she's a top girl, but how are you gonna be a top girl when you can't even get through a match without getting yourself suspended? And I've seen this before, the rash behavior, the impulsiveness, the bad decisions. She talks like she's untouchable. She talks like she's at the top, but why is everyone else talking about me instead of her? And that's not me being personal, that's observational. You want to climb? You have to survive the climb first. And how is Jada going to do that when she's up against hell herself?
Well, let's give credit where credit's due. The NXT universe loves Jada. We hear the Miss Parker chant.
Do not say it. I am a lot of things, but I am no liar. I've been in the ring with her. I've heard the chants, the fans, they love her. I saw their faces when I attacked their beloved Miss Parker by the merchandise truck. Seeing her like that, it it hurt them. And that kind of connection, that's not something you fake. But admiration and relevance are not the same. Being loved doesn't allow you to control the room. Being loved doesn't allow you to dictate who matters. That's why people come to me. With Vengeance Day coming up, the question shouldn't be, can Jada Parker handle Blake Monroe? The real question should be, can Jada Parker handle herself? Can she handle the spotlight? Can she handle the pressure, the expectation? She may have the chance, she may have the love, she may think she's untouchable, but when the bell rings and none of that matters, not the love, not the chance, not even her ego, only one thing matters. And that's surviving Blake Monroe.
Well, Sam, just like you were saying, I'm not sure if Jada Parker knows the extent to Blake Monroe and her history, but all you have to do is sit and watch her energy and her demeanor in that interview with Sarah Schreiber, and it's crystal clear how confident Blake Monroe is.
Blake Monroe is confident. I don't think that she's giving enough credence to the fact that Jada Parker does see her coming at times. Jada Parker saw her coming on Tuesday. Blake Monroe has to change the whole game up. I think that Blake Monroe has a lot of layers that a lot of people in NXT have not yet seen. And those layers are going to be where victory comes in. Those layers are going to be those moments that somebody like Jada Parker doesn't see coming. And if she can bring that out, if she can bring out that venom, that's what's going to be enough to win, because it's not going to be enough to have people talking about her. It's important to have people talking about you, but on a night like Vengeance Day, the way you get people talking about you is to win street fights.
Yeah, and you know, Blake Monroe, since she's been in NXT, it has been about changing the entire plan. We've seen her in situations before where she has to throw everything out and evolve and come up with something new. But Jada Parker is someone from the moment she walked in the door at the Performance Center in Orlando, she's had this connection with the audience. You talk about people talking about you, everybody is always talking about Miss Parker.
And that's what makes this match so important for Jada Parker, is that I think one of the reasons that she connects with the NXT audience, like you're talking about, is her authenticity. People believe what she says when she says it. And she says that she can beat someone like Blake Monroe in a street fight at any time. If somebody like Jada Parker is losing street fights, then that credibility, that authenticity, that connection is in danger of going away. And I think if Jada Parker does lose that connection, then she kind of goes back to square one on the NXT Women's Division.
But Jada Parker, you know, she's been in NXT for a while
That's
here.
right.
But what would a win over somebody as experienced as Blake Monroe do for a Jada Parker?
It would be huge. I mean, Jada Parker has risen the ranks in NXT. She's climbed up the ladder. She's gotten to her spot because she's deserved it. Blake Monroe is the type of talent that comes in and immediately gets the attention. Jada Parker needs to win this match to make sure that she stays on top.
Well, also tonight coming your way at Vengeance Day, Kalani Jordan is headed to the Underground. Does she know what's in store for her?
She looks confident. We'll see if she knows, but Lola Vice is ready for it. She has been in the Underground before, injury or no injury. This is where Lola Vice is a Viking.
Can Lola Vice become 4-0 in the NXT Underground? We will find out tonight as she takes on Kalani Jordan. But earlier this week, Blake Howard sat down with Jordan.
Kalani Jordan, coming up at Vengeance Day. I know you're looking to settle the score between yourself and Lola Vice, but this is not just a regular match to determine who the ultimate crossover athlete is. I know for you, it's your first time stepping into NXT Underground, and it's become quite personal.
Yes, it's personal because me and Lola have been tethered together since we debuted on NXT. We both met in the finals of the Breakout Tournament in 2023. We had a lot of big events together just this past year. Heat Wave, Stand and Deliver, Evolution, Deadline. So naturally, when you're with someone all the time, you become friends. But me and Lola, we bonded. We shared each other's stories. We both had the same passion, the same work ethic, the same goals. I shared things with her that I've never told anyone else. So yes, I take it very personal when she led the charge in kicking me out the locker room. Because what kind of friend does that?
Kalani, you just mentioned it. Do you know why Lola kicked you out of the locker room?
Of course, it's obvious. She's jealous of me because Lola's the type to smile in my face and act like she's a friend, but in reality, she wanted to take my place because she's upset that she's not running the division like she saw in her eyes. But look at what I've done. I became the first ever women's North American champion, match of the year contender every single year that I've been here, NXT Women's Superstar contender every single year that I've been here, rookie of the year, and oh yeah, the most recent one. I went to TNA and on my first attempt became the TNA Knockouts World Champion. But now that I think about it, the crazy part is I didn't see Lola kick JC Jane out the locker room. Or what about Ariana Grace? And am I mistaken? Is that not the same title that I once held? Exactly. It's clear as day she's jealous of me, but she should really just take a look at the mirror and realize that she's had the same opportunities that I have. She's had the chance to compete outside NXT at AAA. And just now, finally, she's won a championship. But Kalani Jordan's never needed anyone to be a champion, especially a man.
Well, Kalani, one thing Lola does hold over everyone else on the roster, she's undefeated in NXT Underground.
You're right, and I'm not afraid to give credit where it's due. But I'm a stellar athlete, and one thing that I know about being the stellar athlete that I am is that records are meant to be broken. I'm the first woman to tap Lola Vice out in a WWE ring. So why can I not beat her at her own game? Everything that I do is calculated. I don't have a master's degree for no reason. I'm smart. And yes, I may have had a setback when she beat me back in January, but I learned from that. And that's why I did what I had to do, and I took away her most lethal weapon, her hand.
Speaking of hands, earlier this week, Kalani, we saw you training with none other than Shayna Baszler. And of course, she calls herself the submission magician, but even Shayna lost to Lola in the Underground. What motivated you to reach out to the former multiple-time NXT Women's Champion?
Shayna knows what it's like to lose an Underground match, but she also knows how to help me capitalize on Lola's injured hand. So why not reach out to the submission magician? But not just that, Shayna is a record-setting NXT Women's Champion. She doesn't just talk the talk. She shows it every time she steps foot in the ring. So if she can do it, then why can't I? But the real question is, can Lola? Because who is Lola Vice without her fist as her weapon? Because after Saturday, Lola's gonna have to ask herself, who is Lola Vice without the Underground? Because there's only a few spots on Stand and Deliver, and everyone knows that. But I can guarantee, and I have no doubt in my mind, that the standout will be the last woman standing at Vengeance Day.
Kalani, thank you, and good luck in the Underground.
Thanks.
Oh, the NXT Underground is a different type of animal. No counts, no pinfalls. The only way to win this thing is by knockout, TKO, or submission. This is where Lola Vice is the most home. This is where Lola Vice was raised. This is the world that Lola Vice lived in even before she got to NXT.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is a completely different Kalani Jordan. Over the past several months, she's had such an edge to her. So how does that translate to the Underground?
It should translate well. I mean, I love watching Kalani Jordan start to develop a new offense, starting to use some of those gymnastics as a defense inside the Underground. I think that tonight we find out if that aggressive streak is a legitimate aggressive streak. Is it an attitude that she's put on? Or is it really how Kalani Jordan is handling herself? Because once you're in the Underground, there's no room for bravado. There's no room for falsities. You're not putting on a show. When you're in the Underground, if the aggression is real, then the aggression is real. And if it's not, you're tapped out or you're knocked out. And that's just how it goes down there.
Well, there's no question about it. Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan are bitter rivals. But speaking of bitter rivals, the NXT Women's North American Championship is on the line tonight. Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley going at it. We have so much more to get to on Countdown to Vengeance Day, including this match between Tony D'Angelo and Dion Lennox. We'll get you caught up on all of that action when we return.
This April, live from Las Vegas, the best in the world, CM Punk.
I'm the champ, and I call the shots.
Versus the original Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns.
Two of the biggest stars for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Greatness demands an answer.
You will acknowledge me.
WrestleMania.
Lola Vice has been waiting for the right time. I gotta tell you, Vic, I did not like the execution from Lola Vice. I would have waited until both women were down and out, but perhaps I'm gonna say Lola Vice might know something I did not, but Roxanne just about getting out of the jaws of danger.
Trying to run. Ooh. And Perez now looking for a 2-for-1. A Russian leg sweep DDT combo.
Vice may well have got the worst of that one.
See if that gets put in WWE 2K24. But look who's up. Look who's standing. It's the Prodigy. She wants back her damn championship.
Suddenly getting that second wind is the former champ.
Everyone is down but one. And look at Roxanne. She knows she has to get one of the two back into the ring. It's the only place she can win the NXT Women's Championship.
Roxanne looking to right a perceived wrong and get back her gold.
High cross body, Valkyria rolling through. And the champion showing the heart of a champion, powering up, and boom! Nightwish connects. Vice saving the matchup, but quickly Lola into the cover, trying to steal it. Valkyria breaking it up.
Almost parasitically taking that victory away from the champ. Lyra Valkyria didn't quite do it, but this one is up for grabs now. Good luck picking a winner.
Look at the NXT universe. It's about the NXT Women's Championship, and I don't know about you, Barrett, but the game changed for me when Vice came out here, changed the game for the two competitors in the ring, and Lola Vice trying to change the game inside the whole women's division. If she can crown herself champion, but Valkyria with a near fall.
Lola Vice
She's out. That's a knockout. That's a cover, and it's not quite enough to crown a new champion.
Well, that was the weakest kick out of all time, and now an attempted armbar.
Trying to break the grip. Valkyria doing anything she can, trying to hold on to not allow Lola Vice to lock in this armbar.
Lola Vice just has such a wide arsenal.
Kick out and again having to relinquish.
Vice has counter, but that might have been a KO in itself.
Perez from behind.
I mean, admire the engines of Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez especially to keep ticking at this pace, this deep into a matchup.
Absolutely unreal. Pop Rocks! Pop Rocks again hits, and there's Tatum Paxley again. There's no disqualification.
The ranged fan of Lyra Valkyria coming to her aid once again.
Looking for Buenos Noches, didn't connect. Valkyria though, looking for Nightwish. Got all of it and somehow survives.
Here is your winner, and still the NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria.
Opportunity awaits the NXT Superstars tonight at Vengeance Day. They will be in familiar territory, and two people who have a lot of history and are certainly familiar with each other are going at it tonight.
There she is, Tatum Paxley, looking to prove to the NXT audience that she can do it on her own. But in order to do that, she's going to have to win the NXT Women's North American title against Izzy Day.
Welcome back, Tatum. I'm sure being in here brings back so many memories for you.
My entire life, I have twisted myself into knots just trying to find love.
We need to stop worrying. You're with us now.
I have Izzy, the Culling. They've accepted me, and I'm so happy you're gonna be there supporting me through the biggest match of my career, holding me in the air in the NXT Women's Championship in my hands.
Cemetery Drive! Paxley shocks the universe!
I remember winning that. I thought it was gonna be the best day of my entire life, but I was wrong.
Jacy Jayne and Tatum Paxley, NXT Women's Championship on the line.
One of the many lessons that I taught you, if you remember, the Colling can always give, and they can always take.
Tatum Paxley's reign has abruptly ended. Jacy Jayne is now a two-time women's champion because of Izzy.
All I see is the same broken, naive girl who tells all of her problems to dolls because they can't talk back and tell you that you're the real reason for all your problems. I'm the one who became the new Women's North American Champion.
I promised the WWE Universe a championship match tonight. Whoever wants a shot, come on out here.
Who will answer the open challenge? Tatum Paxley with a chainsaw, holding everybody back. And wait a minute, Izzy Dame?
First come, first serve.
Izzy Dame, you're a new North American Women's Champion.
Doing whatever it takes, preying on the feeble, and creating opportunity. The Colling always prevails, and that just is what it is.
I crave acceptance, trying to be exactly what somebody else needed of me.
Honestly, Tatum, it's pathetic. You are pathetic.
But in that loneliness, I learned to finally start listening to all of you. You wanted me, and for the first time in my entire life, because of you, I have felt real love. Nothing is going to beat the satisfaction I'm gonna feel when I take that North American Championship from you at Vengeance Day. When I beat Izzy Dame at Vengeance Day, that title won't just be mine, it will be ours! This pain that you've put me through, your manipulation, it's all only temporary. You'll understand. I was never meant to be played with.
No one in the world would like sweet vengeance on Izzy Dame and the entire Colling more than Tatum Paxley. You know, Sam, I tried to tell you for months that Tatum Paxley shouldn't trust Izzy Dame and the Colling. And now Izzy Dame, you know, she showed her true colors. She showed her true colors to not only you, but to the entire NXT universe. But this is a different Tatum Paxley we're talking about. This isn't the naive Tatum Paxley who is playing along with Izzy Dame's games. She's ready to prove herself tonight.
Yeah, she says she's ready to prove herself tonight. She says that she wants to prove herself tonight, but I do believe that manipulation game is still happening on the side of Izzy Dame. She still realizes that connective tissue that brought Tatum Paxley to the Culling may still be there. And if there is any hint of that connective tissue or that desire to still be connected to the Culling, oh, will it be exploited tonight, and it will be exploited to retain the Women's North American Championship.
But Tatum Paxley has been in a situation before where she's been very emotional to her former friends or current friends. I mean, you go back to the days of when she was close with Lyra Valkyria. Tatum finds it hard to let go of those things. Back to the days when she was close with Izzy Dame.
Yep.
To me, this is a Tatum Paxley who's gotten the taste of gold, and you know better than anybody else because you've been watching this for years and years and years, Sam. Once you get the taste of gold, you're no longer the same person.
I thought because of all the awards that I had won. No, I've never actually tasted.
No, just from watching.
Gold myself, but it does seem that, yes, it is something that people like to repeat, but in order to taste gold once more, you could just want it. You could just have the desire. You need to be able to beat champions. And you said that Tatum Paxley was thinking about her friends, both current and former. I don't know who her friends are current. And that may be something that Tatum Paxley needs. If it were me and I'm Tatum Paxley, I need to have taken the time to figure out how to do this completely on my own. Clearly, relationships are not where Tatum Paxley shines. But you know what? In the world of professional wrestling, relationships don't matter. Winning matters. W's matter. And that's what Tatum Paxley needs to do. Not worry about the past, not worry about betrayal, not worry about relationship. Worry about, to borrow a phrase from Booker T, checks and championships. And for Tatum Paxley, it is finally about that tonight.
Well, Tony D'Angelo would love for things to be about championships for him.
Maybe
but
checks.
Ever since returning to NXT, Tony D'Angelo has had a master plan, and phase one is underway, Sam.
Well, phase one had started about 3 weeks ago when Tony D'Angelo beat Cutler James of Dark State. Of course, phase one is all about taking out the Dark State and everything that Dark State represents in NXT. Dion Lennox getting involved and Dark State trying to use those numbers to their advantage again. But Tony D has seen it all coming. Tony D is aware of how Dark State handles business. And you saw this 3 weeks ago on NXT. Tony D didn't just want to beat Dion Lennox, he wanted to maim him. He wanted to destroy the ankle of Dion Lennox, but it was Dark State that was there once again with the numbers, making sure that they didn't lose anybody in that moment. Tony D, not one to take defeats lying down. Only a week later, Dark State put their titles on the line against Vanity Project on NXT. And with all the chaos going on, Tony D shows up and makes it his mission, not just to take Dark State out for himself, but to make sure that Dark State feels everything he felt, costing Dark State the NXT Tag Team Championships and control of the division.
NXT Tag Team Champions. That fool, I know. Why do we keep letting Tony
See, with all the chaos going on, you missed something there. Look at what's happening. Right behind Dark State's back, Tony D is taking out members. Tony D is ending the numbers game and the advantage of the Dark State. And there is nothing that this group can do to stop the mission that Tony D is on.
Tony D'Angelo had the numbers advantage for years, so he knows a thing or two and has some tricks up his sleeves. But will it be enough to put away Dion Lennox tonight at Vengeance Day? And Sam, I tell you what, this Tony D'Angelo, ever since he returned, I know he's got this master plan. I know phase one is enacted and all centers around Dark State, but he just seems to be playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
It's amazing watching Tony D work. He's like Babe Ruth. He calls his shot. I mean, I've never seen anybody go to a group like Dark State and say, I am here and I'm going to take all of you out. And over the course of weeks, watch it happen systematically, member by member, watching Tony D consistently be in control of everything that's going on and really watching Dark State's numbers advantage just disintegrate in front of our eyes. You saw the state that Dion Lennox was in after realizing what was happening to what I consider his group, Dark State. Tony D'Angelo is in their heads, and he's taken out their bodies.
Yeah, but Dion Lennox, he certainly stepped up to the plate. I like how you use a Babe Ruth reference, so stepping up to the plate. And on Tuesday, he told Tony D'Angelo that he'll see him in the parking lot because a brawl is about to ensue.
That's right. He's not waiting for Tony D to enter the building. Dion Lennox wants to be there waiting for him. He's not going to get attacked from behind. He's not going to get a surprise. He is ready for a fight. And here's the thing about Dion Lennox. I think that we are all sort of putting the cart before the horse on this as far as Tony D'Angelo goes. Because Tony D'Angelo called his shot, we're all assuming that it's a foregone conclusion, that Tony D'Angelo goes in tonight to complete his plan and then move on to whatever phase two is. But this is Dion Lennox. This is a standout of Dark State. This is a standout of NXT. This is a guy who raised up the ranks over the last year and has made the whole world talk about what Dion Lennox is doing. Right before we came in to do this show, there were people in the back that were saying, Dion Lennox, that's the guy, that's going to be the guy, that's going to be the guy. And the reason they're saying that is not just because he gets the opportunity to be in these big moments, but because he makes the most of them and because he wins. And can you imagine what the world will be saying about Dion Lennox if he shows up tonight at Vengeance Day and ruins Tony D'Angelo's master plan.
I mean, Deion Lennox, it's been the group of Dark State, and who's stood out? Deion Lennox is one who everybody is talking about. But speaking about getting people talking, that's exactly what Lola Vice has done, but she's got her back against the wall. She's dealing with a hand injury, heading into an underground match with Kalani Jordan. Earlier this week, she caught up with our very own Sarah Schreiber.
Lola Vice, thank you so much for sitting down with me ahead of Vengeance Day. Here in Orlando, you'll be facing Kalani Jordan in an underground match. Things have gotten deeply personal between the two of you. How did we end up here? Take me back. Why did you kick her out of the locker room?
You know exactly why, Sarah. Loyalty is a big part of this business, something that she knows nothing about. She won the TNA Knockouts title, got a little notoriety, a little fame, came back to NXT happy as could be to side with Team TNA. She stabbed us all in the back. She proved she's not loyal to this business, to our fans, to her friends, and definitely not this brand that I represent. And you know, I know what everyone's thinking, but Lola, you're the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion. Yeah, I do go to AAA, but I have never and will never turn my back on NXT, especially when they need me. And you know, in my mind, when we had that one-on-one match, that's where it needed to be handled. And it was. I beat her. She got smoked, couldn't handle the heat, and now here we are, Sarah.
But why do you think it got to this level? Why are we here at an underground match?
Because she couldn't let it go. She couldn't handle losing to me. Then proceeds to attack me over and over again. Cost me another title match on NXT. Mind you, Kalani Jordan became the first NXT Women's North American Champion. Meanwhile, Lola Vice is yet to win a title in NXT. So to be honest, Sarah, I don't understand why she's so envious of me, why I had to get to this point, why I went so far. Her reasoning for all of this is stupid. She's a liar. I'm not like anyone else here, and she knows that. I don't play games. This isn't gymnastics. I knock people out for a living. And when it comes to me, Lonnie missed.
Well, Kalani's been saying you won't be able to knock her out with an injured hand. Do you think you're in over your head at Vengeance Day? That maybe your ego may have gotten...
Sarah, I built my name knocking women out. A hurt hand does not change who Lola Vice is. It just changes the way I hurt Kalani Jordan. Want to talk about ego? I mean, I was ready to give it up after I smoked on our one-on-one match. But she kept trying me, so I had no option but to defend myself. But what, she steals her fiance's moves and she really thinks she's her? Okay. I don't even think Kalani really knows who she really is. And you know, Sarah, I should take this as a compliment. She needs me hurt going into the underground match. She thinks she's caused me pain. She doesn't know what pain is. She thinks she knows how this ends. No, I'm gonna tell you how this is gonna end. At Vengeance Day, Kalani Jordan is stepping into my world, the underground. No pins, no ropes, no flips. And when I knock Kalani out, the standout will not be able to stand up, Sarah.
Lola Vice going back to the underground, her fourth underground match in NXT, and there is no question about it. This is where Lola Vice feels the most comfortable, but Kalani Jordan has done anything but make Lola Vice feel comfortable, and this has been going on for weeks and weeks, Sam.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lola Vice spelled it out. She was ready to be done with Kalani Jordan, and Kalani Jordan would not let it go. And good for Kalani Jordan. Good for her, letting Lola Vice know that she's not just going to get rolled over on whatever this plan is that Lola Vice has to be the next one in the NXT women's division. However, in that quest to make sure that she doesn't get ignored, I wonder if Kalani Jordan has taken one step or one backflip too far and found herself in the NXT underground.
Well, and you think about what's at stake here, right? Everybody's focused on Stand and Deliver. Obviously, they have to get through Vengeance Day, but everybody is thinking about how am I going to find my way on the card at Stand and Deliver. You look at Lola Vice, you look at Kalani Jordan, two of the best women in the entire division, and this women's division is stacked. So the stakes aren't only about who can end this rivalry. The stakes aren't only about who can put who away. these women want to compete for a championship at Stand and Deliver.
I can't wait to see how one of them handles leaving here with a loss. We have 2 women in a must-win situation.
Well, speaking of NXT championships, tonight at Vengeance Day, the NXT championship is on the line. When we return right here on Countdown to Vengeance Day, we'll break down Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry's title match.
Besides that Ferris wheel.
Look at that.
It's all about the North American title here at Vengeance Day. The champion, Obafemi, in his first defense of his title against the man he beat when he executed his breakout tournament contract, Dragon Lee, and Lee has brought the fight. Dragon Lee has brought everything, and there's no
chance.
way.
You're out of your mind, Whoa!
Sit down! Power bomb! Oh, wow!
I'll tell you this, Vic, I don't care how big and scary you are, when you get rocked, when you start tasting your own blood, when you get thrown around like this, you start to doubt your own abilities. But we're learning a lot about Obafemi now. He's still in the fight. He ain't giving up.
I don't know what was more impressive, the kick out by Femi or the power from Dragon Lee to hoist a 6'6" man over 300 pounds, then up over Dragon Lee, caught. Oof. Lee doing his best to break away. Big knee under the jaw of Femi. And Oba now somehow still on his feet. Lee, though, charging back in, and he just got swatted out of thin air again.
Like a frying pan to the chest. And Obafemi has a scary look in his eye. What on earth is he concocting, Vic?
Well, he just wiped out Dragon Lee. And he could be looking to wipe out our announce desk.
It's looking bleak for Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee able to counter with a DDT.
Yeah, just in the
Was that on the monitor?
Just bounced off the cowl, perhaps the monitor too. That was an ugly landing for Obafemi, but thankfully for Dragon Lee, he stays alive in this one.
Well, you talk about the inexperience. This could be the experience of, how that? Like a monster back to his feet. At first you don't succeed, try again. Barrett, you just got out of the way.
I need a new chair. Dragon Lee needs a new spine.
And Obafemi looking to put the finishing touches possibly on his first championship title defense, but Dragon Lee with second thoughts, shoulders down, near fall. Femi just able to power out and then bulldozes Dragon Lee. A fortune teller spoke to Obafemi about his power and overtaking an industry. He's well on his way to doing so with performances like tonight.
He believes there is a prophecy driving him. It's written in the stars.
He just tossed Lee like nothing, like a shot put, like he was back in college dominating the NCC. Powerbomb, good night. Obafemi retains.
Here is your winner, and still the NXT North American Champion, Obafemi!
Who can step up and take down the North American Champion?
This is St. Louis, Missouri, where NXT is headed for NXT Stand and Deliver. Coming to the factory in St. Louis on Saturday, April 4th. Tickets are on sale now via Ticketmaster. Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice have been in a heated rivalry for months, but tonight it comes to an end in the underground.
Both these women are on the cusp of superstardom. Kalani Jordan.
Electrifying, dynamic, innovative. All words to describe Kalani Jordan.
Lola Vice.
I'm gonna be the greatest superstar to cross over from MMA to the WWE.
This is just the beginning. This thing's gonna be going on for many, many years.
Your breakout star of the year, Lola Vice.
Shut up while champion is talking. I'll hold this title with honor and prestige. And you know what that gets me? Booed. Kicked out the locker room.
Nope. Sorry, Mama. But you chose Team TNA.
Labeled as a traitor amongst people who I thought were my friends.
Traitor.
But it's okay for Lola Vice to go to AAA every other weekend. We all love that for Lola.
Cállate la boca. From NXT to AAA, Vice City is everywhere, baby.
I accept all responsibilities when it comes to being TNA Knockouts World Champion. Even if that means going against NXT, but especially if that means I get a chance to shut you up.
Lola Vice has been eliminated.
What are you doing?
Coming back to the locker room where I belong. Jealousy does not look good on you.
Jealous of what?
Lola, I am the best crossover superstar in this locker room.
Kalani, gymnastics is nothing compared to MMA. And people like you are gonna find out real quick.
And these two are ready for a fight.
Oh my God!
And that back fist just sent Kalani back to East Lansing.
It's my time to be selfish now.
Kalani Jordan.
What the hell is going on here?
Have you ever seen this side of Kalani Jordan?
No. This is a brand new attitude.
Oh my God!
You'll never knock me out again.
Put Kalani and I in an underground match.
The only way to win, knockout, TKO, or submission.
You really want that?
I signed all the paperwork clearing NXT and any doctors of any liability. Make it happen.
You know what? The WWE Universe would want that. You got it.
Lola Vice undefeated inside the Underground 3-0.
In the underground, you have one of two options. Either I tap you out, or I knock you out. You choose, bitch!
I am the first woman to make Lola tap out. I mean, like, ever. I beat her at her own game. I can definitely do it again, especially in an underground match. And all she could do was cry about it.
Are you ready to step back in to the underground? No longer the locker room's little sister. Kalani Jordan looks to defeat the locker room leader in Lola Vice. Which woman survives? Which woman will be victorious?
Oh, the tension, the hatred, the vitriol between Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice all comes to an end tonight. And what better place to end this than in the underground? Lola Vice dealing with that hand, though. I know this is where she's most comfortable. Sam, the doctor suggested maybe she shouldn't compete, but Lola's not taking no for an answer.
That's why doctors aren't champions. Lola Vice is a fighter, and she's going to be a fighter. Because here's the thing about Lola Vice. You're right, you can't knock people out if you've got a broken hand, but lucky for Lola Vice, she's got another hand. That's what Kalani Jordan has to deal with in the underground. Look, I think those are the two X factors. One is Lola Vice's hand. How injured is it? Is she going to be able to perform with it? And after the match, is it going to be healthy? She doesn't just have to get through tonight. She doesn't want to get knocked out of contention. And the other X factor is the offense. The offense and the defense of Kalani Jordan, bringing gymnastics into the underground. We have never seen it before. I don't know if it will be effective, but but I'm anxious to see.
Well, these women want an opportunity at the NXT Championship. They want to be in the title picture, and everybody's been talking about that NXT Championship title division because what's been going on between Zarya and Sol Ruca. This is what happened just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, Sol Ruca had earned this shot at the NXT Women's Championship, and the inevitable happened. The moment that we were all afraid of before the bell even rang. Zarya takes out her partner, I guess now former partner, best friend, I guess now former best friend, Sol Ruca. Jacy Jayne looking on with utter glee, realizing that she just got an easy ticket to defending her NXT Women's Championship. I guess you call that a championship match, but Zarya was far from over when it comes to explaining to Sol Ruca exactly how she felt about their relationship. I mean, unbelievable
strength on
power
full display
from Zarya. Zarya showing a side of herself that we knew was there, but we hadn't quite seen. Quite frankly, a lot of us were afraid of it. Getting her way into an NXT Women's Championship just last Tuesday, but Sol Ruca telling that same old story. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times, you get back up. She snatches not one, but two souls. And let Zarya know exactly how she felt about everything Zarya was doing. Apparently, Zarya did not have the impact that she wanted to on Sol Ruca.
I mean, the whole Women's NXT Championship picture is an absolute mess. You know what? This might be an unpopular opinion, but good for Zarya. Sol's been getting all these opportunities.
What?
Zarya finally
She's
taken
earned the
one
opportunities
for her own. Yeah, but Zarya's been by her side through it all. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. I'm very curious, though, what interim general manager Rob Stone is going to do about this. Sam, for a second, can you pull out your GM hat?
Well, mine would be a little bit bigger than Robert Stone's. I think Robert Stone's got to get everybody involved. The whole division, put everybody in there. HBK wants chaos, give him chaos.
Well, let's shift gears to the men's championship picture. And tonight, the NXT title is on the line as Joe Hendry defends his title against Ricky Saints.
For the first time since 2015, the NXT Championship will be decided in a ladder match. We truly are in the year of opportunity.
I see a lot of future champions, but simply put, Absolute Ricky Saints is absolutely built to be the two-time NXT champion.
Say his name, and he appears. And I didn't just come to NXT to entertain. I came here to be a champion. Because I'm going to give the WWE Universe an even bigger reason to believe in Joe Hendry.
Hendry just got to get Ricky Saints down. Saints starting to fight back.
Another one.
Ricky got hit with the title. Yes! Yes! Yes!
Here is your winner and the new NXT champion, Joe Hendry.
Tonight proves that if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And now NXT believes in our new champion, Joe Hendry.
Ricky Saints somehow survived the chaos. He's about to grab his second NXT championship, and that was until I heard the words, "We believe." The climb to the NXT championship happened long before the ladder match. And now Joe Hendry stands here as your new NXT champion. But what that means is that the climb doesn't stop. No, we are just getting started.
Hey!
Well, damn.
Oh, come on! Ricky Saints doesn't want to share the damn spotlight. This is sick.
Production, lights. I believe in Ricky. All of y'all because you can relate. You're an everyman. You stole the championship from me and no one seems to be talking about that, huh? You got everyone tied up in here to the Hendry hype. You even got a 2K DLC. Congratulations, partner. But being an everyman doesn't make you worthy of being a champion. Having talent does. Being the best. Ricky, there you are with the egos and the opinions. It's a fact that I'm something you're not. NXT champion. And last time I checked, that makes me the best in NXT.
Well, since you love marketing so much, let's do this.
Vengeance Day. Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints for my NXT championship. You know what? You're on! Because guess what? I'm not in a singing mood. I'm not in a dancing mood. I'm in a kicking Ricky Saints' ass all around the arena type of mood. And Ricky, I got no problem kicking your punk ass at Vengeance Day.
Well, Joe Hendry has been just about everywhere, from the grandest stage of them all to now the NXT champion. But if you ask Ricky Saints, he's nothing more than a viral meme, than a sensation, than a song. But Joe Hendry is bound, dead, and determined to prove that he's a fighting champion, Sam.
Well, I think Joe Hendry has done a tremendous job proving that he's more than the meme. Joe Hendry has done a great job getting past all of that. I mean, he had a great year last year, but a lot of it was, quite frankly, novelty. A lot of it was for fun. A lot of it was for laughs. Now it's time to get serious. Now it's about being the NXT champion. And I think that as soon as he won that title, we saw a different Joe Hendry. We saw more about the climb that it took to get here, the work that he has put in to be at the top of his game. And even if you take the spin out of it, even if you take the songs out of it, what happens in between those ropes is championship worthy. I think that is the message that Joe Hendry has effectively gotten across over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Ricky Saints, though, however, is not buying this whatsoever. And Ricky Saints, hungry for an opportunity. I think he was someone who, when Obafemi had left, and Ricky Saints is the one who beat Obafemi. Ricky Saints is the one who was able to hold that NXT championship. Joe Hendry, now the champion, and we've seen a totally different side of Ricky when his back's been against the wall.
Well, this is what the beauty of NXT is. Ricky Saints thought that this was his. Ricky Saints thought, now it's my time. Every time somebody wins that NXT championship, they don't think, okay, I'm holding the title. They think this brand now belongs to me. And every now and then, they get proven wrong. And you know what? Maybe Ricky needed a little of this edge. Maybe Ricky needed to stop worrying about what fans thought. Maybe Ricky's fans love Joe Hendry. Fans love to sing the song. Fans love to have a good time. Fans were fine with Ricky Saints not winning the NXT championship. You know who wasn't fine with that? Ricky Saints. And maybe Ricky Saints can't hold a tune like Joe Hendry can. Maybe Ricky Saints doesn't have the parody song lyrics that Joe Hendry does. But tonight, the guitars are going away. Tonight, the only accessory is the NXT Heavyweight Championship, and that is far from an accessory. That is the ultimate prize on this brand, and that's the prize that Ricky Saints doesn't want to win. That's the prize that Ricky Saints wants to define himself by.
Do you think that Joe Hendry, although he's defended the title, still feels the need to prove himself as an NXT champion?
Absolutely, and I think that he does. Joe Hendry still does need to show the world who he is as a top guy, and that's why tonight is so important.
The NXT Championship is on the line. Can Joe Hendry get another successful title defense, or will Ricky Saints become a two-time NXT champion?
Talk about championships. How about the NXT Women's North American Championship? Tonight, Tatum Paxley tries to make it right, but in order to do that, she's got to beat Izzy Dame for the title.
Lola Vice feels right at home in the underground. She makes her fourth trip there tonight as she takes on Kalani Jordan. Will we see some gymnastics in the underground? We're going to find out at Vengeance Day.
We're also going to find out if they're effective, but I want to know what's going to be effective. I want to know a fight that promises to start in the parking lot of the NXT Performance Center. Tony D looks to finish phase 1 of his plan tonight against Dark State's Dion Lennox.
Sam, you talk about a fight? Well, we got a street fight on our hands. Blake Monroe and Jada Parker going at it tonight at Vengeance Day. There is so much opportunity for our NXT superstars tonight. We got the championship on the line, but when all is said and done, who is everybody going to be talking about at the end of Vengeance Day?
You're asking me that?
Yes.
That's a big question. I think the person everybody's going to be talking about is whoever wins this street fight. I think it's either Blake Monroe or I think it's Jada Parker. I think that is the match tonight that gets the whole world buzzing. And quite frankly, I think the glamour is going to leave the glamour aside. I think we see a different side of Blake Monroe tonight. And I think that is what the world is talking about in just a few hours.
For me, I think we're going to see if phase 1 can be complete. What will phase 2 look like? Or will Dark State have the answer? To me, that's going to be the biggest story coming out of Vengeance Day.
Yeah, but how about the question of who is Ricky Saints without the NXT Championship? Or was Joe Hendry just the meme all along? There is so much on the line in that NXT Championship match.
All these NXT superstars looking to capitalize on opportunity tonight, but we don't have to wait long because all of the action comes your way from Orlando, and it starts right now.
Oh, I can't wait. Orlando, are you ready? It's going to be more exciting than that Ferris wheel. It's Vengeance Day, and it starts right now.
The day is drawing near. When loyalty fades, betrayal strikes, and vengeance is inevitable. NXT Vengeance Day. The day is drawing near. When loyalty fades,